Hello, I'm John and... Hang on. What's that over there? No, really, there's something over there. Weird. Anyway, hello, I'm John. Welcome to my channel, Disquiet and Dragons. And in this video, I'll be talking about the best horror novel I've read this year. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. And in this video I just wanted to talk quickly about a book that I finished last night. Probably the best horror novel I've read this year, and that is The Ritual by Adam Neville. I'd heard a lot of good things about the book, and I had seen the film when it came out. I think it was 2018 or something like that when I bought it on DVD. Watched the film, thought it was wonderful, brilliant, like survival folk horror, and I'd heard the book was a little bit different, so I thought I'd give it a read. I'm so glad I did. Absolutely phenomenal book. The book, it starts off in Swedish woodland in this forest, and we follow our four main characters. Luke, who is the main character that we follow. His friend Hutch and two others, Dom and Phil. They all went to university together, and 15 years later they decided to go for a hiking holiday in Sweden. Hutch is kind of like the leader of the group. Luke is his good friend, and Phil and Dom, unfortunately, they're not quite used to hiking in the woods anymore. They've let middle age get the better of them a little bit, and when we join them, Phil has got a really bad case of blisters, which is hampering progress, and Dom has really hurt his knee, so the going is slow, and these injuries caused Hutch to decide we're going to go a shortcut through the woods. So they decide to go through the woods to try and make some time up and go in a bit easier for their friends that are injured. And things just go steadily downhill from there. It becomes a kind of survival horror. There's something not quite right with these woods. They seem to get turned around really easily inside them, and there's strange and horrific noises and sights. It's not a spoiler because it's in like the first chapter. They find a disemboweled elk tied up in the trees, and you know, as it would, that would really spook you out. If I turned a corner and saw that in the trees now, I'd be gone. So yeah, then they find these strange abandoned houses, and one by one strange things start happening to them, and yeah, we follow them on their journey trying to find a way out of these woods. The one thing I think Adam Neville does spectacularly well in this part of the book is conveying the fear and the panic of when you are lost in the woods. Luckily in England there's no woodlands that are that big that you can get truly call the police for a search party lost in, but there are places where you can get turned around and you can end up going a mile or two out of your way. It happened to me a couple of years ago. My friend and I, we went walking Hopwas Woods, not a big place by any means. We got completely turned around in these woods, and we were actually about 1.5 miles away from where we thought we were, and when we couldn't find the path that we thought we needed, it really started causing me to panic. So it is scary when you get lost in the woods or in a landscape you're not familiar with. And Adam Neville, just the way he writes it on the page, the fears of this group of guys that we're following, like typical lads at first, like full of bravado, and it's only woods, no problem. And then slowly you see them start to realise just what a predicament they're in, and it's just done so well. And the prose that describes the woods, fantastic. They feel really ominous, and you feel like those woods do not want you there. So yeah, the writing is, despite how atmospheric it is, because it's fantastically written. It feels dark, and you feel like the weather's against you, and you feel like the environment is against you. Fantastically written, but the story moves along at such a fast pace as well. It's got really short chapters, which I think helps with the pace of the book. And yeah, the first half of the book, because it's quite well known that the book takes a turn halfway through. But yeah, the first half of the book is absolutely phenomenal. And another thing that I think Adam Neville does really well is there's a couple of these people in this group of lads and guys, and they are complete arses. But despite them being not very nice people, you do still want them to succeed. You want them to get out. You want to root for them. You want them to get out alive, as it were. And yeah, I think to write a character that is kind of dislikable and has got some bad character flaws, and to make you still want to read about them and connect to them, I think it's very well done. And yeah, fantastically written, great characters, and great environment and world building in this book. But yeah, as we follow a party of 4 men, they start getting picked off one by one. There's something else in these woods, something old, something that stalks them. And this part of the book, when they start getting really scared and fearful for their lives, it's genuinely scary at times. There's things that happen, and the way that you find out about these things is you find out when the characters find out, and because you have no real extra knowledge that the characters don't have, you feel kind of scared for them. You don't know what's going to happen to them. You don't know what's hunting them, or what's going to befall them. And yeah, the story follows them through the woods. Their food stocks starts to dwindle. They can't find water. The 2 that are injured, their injuries get even worse. One of them shows a side of their character that, it's not good. But the way it's portrayed, it's like you can see that if you had that person as a friend, it's something that you'd put up with for the friendship, but you'd also want them to get help for it. Again, the character work is fantastic, and you really do feel bad for these guys and what they go through. But as we follow them through the woods, and they get more lost, and they make more discoveries, and they get more scared, and you fear for their safety, the story takes another turn after that as well. And then we come to the second part of the book, which is titled South of Heaven. be quite vague. I won't really go into the story with this, but there is a real change in tone to the story now. We go from a survival type horror and we go to a full folk horror tale now, and yeah, I thought the second half of this book actually felt a lot more dangerous and tense than the first half. The antagonists, they're influenced by things that really did happen in real life, and once you've read the book, those events, they're well worth reading about, because they, as horrific as they were really interesting as well. And the book did a great job of making me feel the same way I felt when I read about the events that obviously influenced this story. And yeah, I think Adam Neville did a really good job of making it feel dangerous and dark and really quite nasty at times. I was talking with Mark over at the book thing, and he was discussing that the ritual could have benefited from being a period piece, and it really could have. I think it works really well in the time period that it is set in. I think if I had to choose, I'd choose it to be set in the time period it was, but it would have been interesting to see where it went if it had been set in the time period that Mark suggested. I think it could have been even nastier, to be honest. But I think the time passing was used kind of like as a motivation for the antagonists in the second half of the book. But yeah, the book ended fantastically well. It came kind of full circle back to the beginning of the book. Satisfactory ending, and yeah, probably the best horror novel I've read this year. It was an easy 5-star read for me. Adam Neville's definitely an author that I'm going to read more of. I've had some of his books on my shelves for a while now, House of Small Shadows and The Reddening. But after reading The Ritual, if his other work is anywhere near as good as this, he's going to just shoot up my favourite author list, I think. So that was my thoughts on The Ritual. I wish I could go into more depth on the second half of the book, but I really don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it yet. Really does deserve to be read. Definite 5-star read for me, and I just thought it was a fantastic book. Very different to the film. If you've seen the film and thought, oh, I don't really need to read the book now, go ahead. It's different enough to make it worthwhile. So if you've read The Ritual, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what you thought of the book, or your thoughts on how the story went, or if there's anything you changed or didn't like that I enjoyed. But as for the video, that brings us to the end of it now. Hope that wherever you are in the world, you're doing well, enjoying what you're reading, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you soon. Bye.